Nacho Porto is a ceramist born in a town called Estrada, close to Santiago de Compostela. In 1979, when he was 20 years old, he came to the village of Cornido in the province of Carnota, where, together with his brother, he started to dabble in ceramics, creating a set of mythological animals, a bestiario or beast collection, where human, animal and symbolic elements all merge into one. These pieces, now on exhibit, are a small example of his prolific production between 1979 and 1985, with special focus on some pieces still being made in unfired clay, and a small collection of winged goats from Monte Pindo. These creations could be mistaken for archaeological finds rather than contemporary creations. Nacho Porto is a self-taught artist, and over the next 13 years he explored other forms of representation, firing methods, decoration, etc., and in 1998 returned to his origins, creating the second generation of beasts, embellishing the original idea and giving each animal its own name and story. That is the origin of his Cojo Nudo, a character who was mocked when he was young because he walked with a limp and had a knot in his stomach, but who one day went to the big city, put together a rock and roll band, sang about his misery and is now famous and rich. Today everyone calls him Cojo Nudo, and that's just fine with him. El Príncipe Azul is the story of Prince Charming, but told the other way round, since these blokes in real life tend to be frogs. El Munte was the offspring of an African rhinoceros who was taking a stroll through Galicia, and a cow from Monte Pindo who he fell in love with. José was a truck driver who likes brand-name clothes. Today he has a transport company for special deliveries, and is inventing a machine to send packages as if they were WhatsApps. El Sireno Enano lives on the beach in Carnota, and loves to play marbles when low tide coincides with dawn. He falls deeply in love every day. He goes into heat when the moon is full in the month of August, and those who do not want to deal with the complications of offspring turn homosexual on those days. El Rey de los Caracoles is a declared hermaphrodite. He's the father of numerous families and is very serious. He doesn't drink, smoke or swear, while Enma is a random hermaphrodite because she can become a father or mother at will. She is very absent-minded. Her head is always in the clouds. Who would turn down the chance to ride her bareback? Ernesto is the world's most misunderstood musician because he plays the violin with the invisible bow, producing music that cannot be heard with one's ears, but only with one's heart, which is why no one understands him. El Marqués was born in Vigo and is the son of a typical middle-class family, his father a civil servant and his mother Catholic. Despite the stupid look on his face, he's very popular with the ladies, thanks to his 3 penises: blue for love, red for passion, and orange for frivolous play. This set of figures, called the No. 1 collection, was awarded first prize in the 2000 edition of the Antonio Fraguas Contemporary Art Competition, sponsored by the provincial government of Coruña. Also included in this second generation we have Antonio, an everyday bloke who in one facet of his life is a hard-working, serious, responsible family man, but in another, a pleasure seeker and womanizer. Like most people, he has 2 heads. In developing this creative line, the artist continues using the animal form but focuses on duality, i.e., the 2 heads that we all have. The 2-headed bull was the first piece of this generation, the large version of which was awarded first prize in the 2006 edition of the Antonio Fraguas Contemporary Art Competition, sponsored by the provincial government of Coruña. You can also see the Cabra y Pájaro, goat and bird piece in 2 formats, large and small. In this phase, the artist incorporates symbolic objects into his human-animal creations. Here we encounter Letrogrifa, a young girl whose body is covered in letters, and when you open her golden tap, she tells you stories, sings songs, recites poetry, and much more. The Caballo de las Ideas with a light bulb, the poet with a cloud and tap, the animal with electrical sockets, and several other pieces comprise this generation. At the Nacho Porto exhibit, you will also find a wide variety of sculptures which are constantly being renewed as new ones are produced. Many of these are originals that are sold along with a certificate of authenticity. The piece called a roba roja is reminiscent of ancient Egypt, while also reflecting the contemporary internet use of the @ symbol, showing how the old and new always come together and move towards the future. La Pesadilla del Prestige represents the black tide suffered by this area in 2003. The bed symbolizes the dream, while the mattress is the stage upon which the nightmare unfolds. Circles is a collection of objects which speak to what we have within ourselves. Sometimes we have to get out of the pool. Other times the circle must be broken. You may rent a flat in the clouds, have alphabet soup, or have to find the key to go in or out. And sometimes you even have a tree whose shadow is you. A number of pieces have emerged over the course of these years of work which, since 2014, Nacho Porto has included in this category because each one is a utopia. A petroglyph featuring a mathematical formula which states, more or less, even if everyone is the same, if you are different, the result is always going to be different. In other words, by being different, an individual person changes the world, underscoring the importance of being yourself. In the utopian couple, the man and woman are leaning on one another. They are perfectly symmetrical and are in balance, representing what we are all searching for in a mate. The work Stairway to the Moon says that it's possible to realize your dreams, but it all depends on where you lean your ladder. In this piece, the ladder is leaning against a fish, which represents depth. The world turned on its head tells us that in real life the sea is in the boat, but since the world is turned on its head, we don't usually see it that way, explaining why things often turn out as poorly as they do. Un cielo de hombre de los pies a la cabeza was made especially for those women who don't believe these men actually exist. Some things in life should be cultivated, like the money tree, made after the introduction of the euro, when everything doubled except for salaries, and we were made to believe that we were millionaires when we were really twice as poor. This plant invites each person to grow money, whichever way they see fit. The wish plant. Having them is not enough, they must be nurtured. The spouse plant, half woman, half man, who are still in love and still have their heads in the clouds. As everyone knows, couples must be planted, watered and nurtured just as plants. Fate must also be nurtured because you'll get nowhere if you walk through life acting like an ass. The personal growth plant speaks about the house we are building within ourselves throughout our lives. The maturity plant shows a person planted in a flower pot to see if she or he grows up a little. The dinnerware is high-quality white industrial porcelain decorated by Nacho Porto. Here you are free to mix and match the designs and shapes that meet your fancy. Each person can put together their own personalized dinnerware set to meet their taste and needs. The artist recommends a dinnerware set for 3 different shapes, given its functionality: oval, square and round. Dinnerware can be supplemented with other pieces such as salad bowls, breakfast cups, platters, coffee sets, etc. Special mention should be made of children's dinnerware, which is personalized with the child's name. The design on these plates symbolizes the wish that the sun, stars and moon will always be with him or her. The ladder symbolizes the path that lies ahead. Using wall tiles and other construction material as a medium instead of canvas, Nacho Porto has been experimenting for years with different decorative techniques using matte glaze. While some are screen print reproductions, most are abstract and expressionist. There is a popular saying in Spanish which is very true despite what the powers to be would have us believe. Caga el rey, caga el papa, y sin cagar nadie se escapa. The king shits, the pope shits, everybody shits. Nacho Porto also does special orders such as trophies for sports events, company gifts, and personalized pieces for special events. Recently, Nacho Porto has been working on pen drive and pencil holders. These are heads or small figures which offer a fun way of organizing your pen drives and keep them from getting lost. Special mention should be made of the analogical woman with a digital memory. Continuing with this link between art and new technologies, Nacho Porto offers ceramic amplifiers for mobile telephones, based on the very earliest forms of communication, which used elements such as horns, seashells and trumpets, to enhance the functionality of one of technology's more recent inventions, the mobile telephone. These are not just simple loudspeakers, but ecological acoustic sculptures that amplify the sound of your mobile phone naturally.